So hello everyone, today we are going to study about price discrimination. So what is a price discrimination? So price discrimination refers to an event when a monopolist is able to sell identical goods at different prices to different market is known as price discrimination. This is because we have the information about the willingness to pay, which means that he knows that how much the consumer is willing to pay for that commodity. Now we will do the first degree price discrimination. So you must remember that the first degree price discrimination occurs when the price is charged on the basis of willingness to pay. Willingness to pay is also known as the reservation price. It is also known as perfect price discrimination because of efficiency, and its demand curve is in steps. This is because of the willingness to pay. So don't get confused. I will show you the graph and try to explain with the help of the graph. Now, so in first degree price discrimination, it is the price is charged on the willingness to pay. So since producer who is able to perfectly discriminate will sell each unit of good at the willingness to pay or the reservation price of the consumer. So there is no consumer surplus. It means that suppose this market works where the producer is selling to the consumer at its willingness to pay. Okay, at consumer's willingness to pay. Suppose consumer is willing to pay 500, so the producer will sell him at 500. So the demand curve will be like this. Here is the quantity. Now let's move to another slide. Now earlier I have discussed that the demand curve was in steps. So here we could see that the demand curve is in steps. So how come it is in steps? Let me tell you. Suppose a monopolist operates where price is more than equals to MC. So suppose a monopolist, the cost of producing is 200, or the marginal cost of a product is 200. So he would not be selling it below 200. So this is 200, this is 300, 400, and this one is 500. Suppose a consumer is willing to buy 1 minute. So a consumer is willing to buy two commodities at 500 rupees. And if he buys more, he thinks that he should negotiate with the monopolist. Suppose he said that he will buy 3 quantities, but he will pay only 400 for the three quantities. Further on, if we buy more quantities, and if the price drops to 200 and the consumer say that I want to buy suppose 10 quantities at 200 rupees, then the monopolist will sell him the 10 quantities because 200 is the marginal cost for the monopolist, and the monopolist operates where the price is more than equals to marginal cost. If the consumer further negotiates and tell him that he wants to buy 12 quantities at 190, then the monopolist will not sell. Why? Because the price is less than the marginal cost. So here we can see that monopolist will sell at price is more than equals to marginal cost. So he will not sell it below 200 because the marginal cost for producing an additional unit is 200. And if the consumer negotiate it, and if the consumer negotiate and tells the monopolist that he wants to buy it at 12 units at 190, so the monopolist will decline his offer because the first main motive of the monopolist is profit maximization. And if we sell it at 190 less, which is 10 less than his marginal cost of producing, then he will incur a loss. Now here's a graph for two consumers. So here is the two graph for two consumers. Okay, so in the first graph we can see that the marginal cost of producing an unit is comparatively, this is the first graph and this is the second graph. In the first graph, the marginal cost of producing an additional unit is comparatively lower than in the second graph. And since the marginal cost at which the monopolist is trying to sell its units, so on the y-axis there is willingness to pay, and on the x-axis there is quantity. So in first graph we can see that the monopolist will offer to sell x1 good to person 1 at price equals to the area under person 1 demand curve, and which is same for the person 2, and the entire surplus of A plus B ends in monopolist pocket. So let me explain. So the marginal cost is this, and since the first degree price discrimination operates on the basis of willingness to pay, and the willingness to pay of the consumer is this point. So the cost of producing an output is this, and the willingness to pay is this, means this much is the profit that the monopolist have got. And the second graph, this is the graph for second consumer. Here the cost of producing is this much and the willingness to pay of the consumer is this. So the profit that the monopolist gets is this. So this area is A and this small area is B. So that's why here it is written that the entire surplus of A plus B ends in the monopolist firm's pocket. Why? Because Here, everything is dependent on the willingness to pay. Neither the consumer is bargaining with the firm, nor the firm is interested to bargain with the consumer. The firm is trying to maximize its profit by producing at lower cost and selling it to the consumer at their willingness to pay. So this is the first degree price discrimination.